Procrastination is killing you and you need to stop. Sorry for the rash introduction. My name is Mark Arroyo. Welcome back to my channel. But yes, that thing that's killing you late at night, that procrastination, is helping you commit self-harm. Not self-harm externally. It's not helping you cut your own wrists or having you take 50 Xanax, but very much is killing your potential as a person. This video is meant to benefit you, the viewer, on how to get rid of procrastination/resistance altogether, or at least not have it dominate your entire life. In this video, I'm going to explain what procrastination is and give you some tips and tricks on how to demolish it in your life. Let's start with what procrastination is. Procrastination, according to Google, is the action of delaying or postponing something that is very important. If you've been through it, it's the usual, I don't want to do it right now, I'll think about doing it later, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, that type of thing. Now with the definition out of the way, I want to explain why you do it. First of all, I want to preface this video by saying that procrastination at its core is very much a inside job type of thing, and it's not really about your assignment that's at hand, or the task at least. Our brain uses procrastination to cope with the negative thoughts that we have inside of ourselves, such as boredom, anxiety, fear, judgment, self-esteem issues, things like that. To make it a little bit more psychological, the amygdala part of our brain, which is a threat detector, would view our work or our homework assignment as a genuine threat, and when our brain views something as a threat, we obviously run away from it. Even if we know that deep down doing it tomorrow or next week is probably not going to happen and it's a bad idea, our brain tricks us into thinking that we should only concern ourselves with the present and not necessarily the future, and it it doesn't necessarily wants us to think about the future. It only wants us to think about the right now, the present. An article down below in the description box by James Clear, who also talks about procrastination, introduces a new idea called time inconsistency. And the article says, and I quote, "Time inconsistency refers to the tendency of the human brain to value immediate rewards more highly than future rewards." What he's trying to say is that you have a future self and you have a present self. And when your future self wants to set goals for yourself, such as climbing a mountain or losing weight or anything like that, anything that you want to do with your life, you are envisioning what you want your future to look like. But in order to get to what you want your future to look like, you need to focus on the present. And most people aren't willing to put the work in order to go from where they are right now to what they want to be like in the future. Your present self loves immediate gratification and is not willing to put the work that will probably take 2 years or a year or maybe even a month to do. You may want to look like this, but you still continue to look like this. You may want to be financially well here, but you still continue to self-sabotage and leave you broke looking like this. This might be the reason why, especially in my generation, that when we go to bed we feel really motivated to change our lives and do everything we need to do, but when we wake up we tend to go back to our old ways as if nothing really happened. Another point I want to bring up is that procrastination, like a lot of bad things in life, is a habit or a cycle, and it's a very bad one that involves your mood and your self-esteem. In the beginning of the cycle, you come to bring in more bad emotions, your low self-esteem, your fear, your anxiety, your fear of judgment, your low self-worth, everything like that. Then what happens is that when you bring discomfort into it, more negative emotions start to come out, and it begins to build and build and build and build and build and build and build. And with that starts to come in excuses and things that you do when you procrastinate. Examples like taking a nap or eating or washing the dishes or taking a walk or calling somebody, anything that is distracting you ultimately from what you are supposed to do. In the end, the consequences are actually a sense of relief, and you are actually in a way congratulating yourself procrastinating. You're congratulating the procrastination, and that is a big no. Once you begin to feel that relief, it becomes to start Sorry, I'm about to pull up some AP psychology terms that I learned from like junior year in high school, but based off basic behaviorism, once we get a reward for something that we do again and again and again, we tend to do it again and again and again, which is why I say that procrastination is a self-harming habit. Your constant delay of projects and assignments is rooted inside that fear and anxiety in your mind. And when you have an important assignment that's due, you begin to feel like, oh, if I don't do good on this assignment, I'm not good enough, and if I don't do good, then my self-worth will be judged and questioned. I just won't feel good about myself, and blah 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 blah. Down below in the description box, there's another article by A. Chris Heath called Why Do We Procrastinate? And he says, and I quote, "Sometimes the procrastinator thinks he or she won't do a good job. This is really a self-esteem issue, as if the person is not equipped to carry out the task. Often the person carries some degree of shame or guilt, and they may not be aware of it, with just enough shame that it makes that already difficult task seem near impossible." But wait, don't give up faith yet. I, Mark Arroyo, have some tips and tricks you can use to demolish your procrastination. Tip number 1, follow the 10-minute rule. The 10-minute rule is when you acknowledge that you're procrastinating, but you do the task anyway for 10 minutes. So you keep on going and you keep on going, you keep on going for 10 minutes. And then once you start, you can't really stop. So it helps you build more and more and more momentum, and it helps you stay with the assignment even longer than 10 minutes. Tip number 2, give yourself a reward after a hard day's work. Whenever you are going into a project to finish it and to get smaller pieces done, it's nice to give yourself a reward after a hard day's work, because once you give yourself a reward, it provides you with a positive reinforcement. It's kind of like a pat on the back, like, good job, you did a good job, good, keep at it. And once you give yourself a positive reinforcement, again, it's like a habit. You do it over and over and over again, which promotes your higher self-esteem and makes you feel better about yourself. Tip number 3, get rid of all distractions and commit. This may sound very cliche, but it is very true, because our laptops and our phones are specifically designed for us to keep scrolling and browsing all day, every day. But if we just keep ourselves alone and we keep ourselves, secluded in our work, and we speak positive affirmations to ourselves, we start to believe it. And when we start to believe it, we start actually putting work into it, and then good things come out of it. Our work is done, our self-esteem is better, and we actually start to believe in our abilities and capabilities again. Tip number 4, act in the face of fear. I know that the possible work may feel and seem intimidating, but once you get started, it's really not. And a lot of people start to bring up excuses of like, oh, I'll get rid of it, or oh, I'll do it when I get rid of my fear first. But a lot of people have to realize that, fear never really goes away. Anxiety and fear, those things, those emotions are never going away. You're a human. There's positive, negative. There's yin and yang. You're never gonna get rid of your fears. So once you start to just do your work, your fear will go away, and you will be okay at the end of the day. You won't die necessarily. Tip number 5, keep a to-do list. This specific tip works really well because it enforces and builds up more of your self-control and more of your willpower at first. It keeps building yourself up, because once you see it, you have to do it. You immediately do it. You don't waste time. You see it, you say, okay, I need to do ABC, and you do ABC. It's like, okay, I need to work out at this specific amount of time, do it. And it just keeps on building up more of your willpower. Willpower is the number one thing in order to get rid of your procrastination. It's the thing that a lot of us lack. And once we start building that up, and once we start doing it consistently, all this negative feelings and all this procrastination and resistance will slowly fade away. Okay, I hope I'm not rambling. These are just my final thoughts. I hope I'm not rambling, and I hope you watch the video all the way to the end, because there are a lot of beneficial things I've said. But my final thoughts are that, you have to really believe in yourself, and you really have to build up better habits for yourself in order to get rid of your procrastination, because it really starts right here. It starts right here. It's mental first. And once you got that down pat, it starts to manifest everywhere else in your entire life. Because once you got this right here, your mind, you're able and capable of doing anything that you want in this life.